Okay, I'm quite honored because just before the meeting I was asked if I could do the introduction. So here I am. Thank you, Larry. Logging, it started a long time ago when ham radio became to be a thing, and it was on paper, obviously, because computers were invented quite a few years later. Now there are enormous amounts of programs available to log, control your computer, get awards, you name it. Those logging programs usually have purposes. They're either general, anything, you can log for anything, and it usually takes a little more time. There's programs for contesting, which allow for very quick logging. There's programs specifically for PODA, for, what was it again? World Wildlife locations, where you can do something like PODA. Summits on the air, D-expeditions, FT8 data, and other programs that let the computer do the work for you. And of course you can get awards, which is one of the reasons we use logging. And so let's go to the next with this one. Yep, there you go. That's one, yeah. So first of all, that program that you all probably know is Logbook of the World, run by the ARRL. It's kind of the mother of all logs. Many contesting and other programs use LOTW to compare your log with that of the party that you talked to or had contact with, and that makes it a valid contact. Is it on the web? Yes. So therefore, the next line is either Windows, Mac, Linux, and Raspberry or Android. ADIF is a program, a format that allows interchange of logs between the various systems that are there. Is it a suite? Like, does it only do logging, or does it do more for you? Does the program allow for awards? Is it paid or not? And lastly, can it control your radio? Cat control. So LOTW is the mother of all of them, and QRZ is very close behind. It is a very, very worldwide popular program, which can instantly show you there's a contact. Yes, the other one confirmed as well, and it works quite well. It interchanges very easily with LOTW, so if you use the one, you can just transfer your files immediately to LOTW. Those are the kind of the main ones that are there. And Club Log is a special thing. It kind of looks at what countries you have logged and keeps track of that. And it also allows for paid contacts. So some sites that are way out there on islands, etc., they will gladly take your contact, but if you want them to confirm, you have to send them a small donation. EQSL is another special program. It allows for electronic cards to be exchanged. As you know, in the beginning of radio, people exchanged cards, physical paper cards, to confirm contact sometimes. And you could do that via the ARRL Bureau or direct. But EQSL makes all that so much handier. They allow you to immediately exchange a card with the other party, and the only thing you have to do is design the card, and they make that really easy. But it doesn't. If you have a confirmed contact on EQSL, they do not interface with LOTW or QRZ or anybody else. So it's self-contained system. Log4OM is a general OM, I think stands for old men, yes. So women are not welcome? Well, I don't know. It is a Windows program, it allows for awards, it is not paid, and does not do any cat control.
It does.
It does? Oh, well, there's always something to be learned here, yeah. Hammers is a specific PODA, Parks on the Air program, works on any of the major computer systems.
I'm going to talk about MRS, but it does PODA, it does general, it does SODA.
It does, but I think it was set up mainly for PODA. Yeah. Awards, yes, it's not paid and does not control your computer, your radio for you. N1MM, that is a typical contest program that is used by most of the contesters, I think. It works on all the platforms. It does ADIF, otherwise it wouldn't work with LOTW. And it's not paid, and it has part computer control, radio control. HRD, that is a suite, meaning it does a heck of a lot of things for radio and controls your radio and also logs. DXLab is another one of those. It's slightly older in how it looks on your Windows computer, more like Windows 7, I think. And it's reasonably popular, and it is paid. HRD is paid and DXLab is not paid, and it's DXLab is very, very capable. It has many functions, and I've seen it on the groups I/O. The exchange of information about it is quite active. Polo, I think, is a very new Android iPhone application, specifically for PODA and SODA, and I don't know much about it.
Back on the Log4OM, that does have ADIF. It will automatically upload along to the world, and it will do both radio and cat.
Okay. Okay. Because there's so many that you kind of lose track of all that. Then we get into some of the lesser used programs, but as I was trolling through using Google to find out about logging programs, all of these popped up. Swisslog, N3FJP, Station Master, DJB, QLog, Smart Logger, Xlog, JLog, CQR log, and I think CQR log is what Larry will talk to us about later, and FLDigi. FLDigi is also a kind of a suite. It's somewhat older, and I have tried to use it, but so far no luck. As you can see, there are some of the specific capabilities are marked, and of course this presentation is recorded, and you can look it up afterwards when it's been put on the website. WSJTX is a program that is kind of the master of FT8. There's others, but WSJTX is the main and original one. It works on all the main platforms. It is not paid, and it will log for you in itself, or it will send it to one of the preferred logging programs that you use, like QRZ or LOTW. Grid Tracker is basically a partner of WSJTX, and it will log every contact you made automatically into LOTW, QRZ, club log, EQSL, and I think there's a few more. And it just happens automatically. You don't have to do anything. NetLogger is a program that is often used by VHF nets, where anybody can log into it, and you will see that the net controller will put your call sign into it, and you can see who else is on that particular net. It's handy. And of course, lastly, the ARRL Bureau has the capability of taking your card and sending it to your to the contact that might be anywhere in the world. I don't know how heavily it's being used still. It's an old-fashioned system, but there's a bunch of volunteers that man or woman the net there, and they take your card and send it on to the recipient. That's how it was in the past. And then we will go to several people who actually use some of these programs and tell them how they will tell us how they use it and the ins and outs of it. And we begin with Robert Ray, who will do QRZ and Intro to Grid Tracker. And
thanks, Hans. We're going to blitz you through a bunch of these programs here. I think we had each of about 10 minutes apiece. So what you're going to get is really a top-level view, a couple of screenshots and things like that. I found long ago live demos really never work. So I'm going to stick with the old school screenshots. I'll be talking about QRZ and Grid Tracker. My main modes of operation these days is primarily FT8. So I'm working using WSJTX and using that kind of native logger in there, and then using, along with Grid Tracker, and then using QRZ as sort of my log management tool. So you've heard a little bit about it. It's pretty simple, probably one of the simpler tools to use, doesn't require a lot of configuration and all that. It's an online logging system integrated with QRZ. You don't have to be a subscriber, although there's some features if you do subscribe to get additional features within the logbook. It allows operators to record and confirm and manage contacts. I've found that and I'll show you here in a minute, but I found that it's good for like one-offs. I find it better to import logs into it from other programs rather than trying to add a bunch, because the interfaces really just allows you to do one at a time. It is accessible anywhere, so wherever you are, you can use this tool. We mentioned the ADIF format. That's kind of a universal format that a lot of the logging tools output, that you can go and find and import it into a lot of tools as well. So there's a lot of different options for everyone to use for these loggers. So it's pretty easy to set up. If you've got a QRZ login, you can create your own log. You can manually enter them or import them, as I mentioned. It does have a nice feature of confirming contacts. So when you put it into your log, it will match. You'll get a report basically daily on any matches you get. And then it has, as mentioned before, the sync options for the logbook of the world. So this is a snapshot of my log. I left Italy up there as kind of a little bit of a flex. But I did get a country I'd never heard of before. Nauru? In the Pacific? Third smallest country in the world? Go figure. I didn't even know what it was when it showed up. So anyway, this is your basic screen. You will see basically all your recent contacts. It's laid out in a format where you can just page over to get to your other pages. You'll see the star on the right-hand side there. Those are confirmed contacts. So like I said, every day you'll get a notification if you've had any matches, and it'll show you which one's matched and that kind of thing. So it's got a nice rubric there for that. It gives you some other data at the top around the QSOs that you have so far, how many confirmed, and then the countries you've gotten so far. This is what an individual entry looks like. So if you decided to add one in yourself, this is the data that you need to have in there. So you need to be able to go through all the different, the time, the band, the frequency, all that sort of stuff. And then it'll send it out there and you'll get a confirmation. This is the import page, very simple. You basically just go and find your ADF file, import it. It will rationalize anything. Like if you had contacts that you had already imported, you don't need to deal with them. It will match them and kind of screen them out, not as new, but it just reconciles that. Very simple. Takes about 10 seconds to do. I try to do this personally on a somewhat regular basis because computers. It just enables you to keep an updated log. And then we talked about the import. You can import from LOTW as well as export as well. There are, like I said, there are some features in here that do require a subscription. So very simple to use. Someone mentioned awards. This is a snapshot. I don't think this is all of the awards, but this is a snapshot of all the sort of the top awards. They have some others that are might be a different, kind of like a contest, like the 12 Days of Christmas kind of thing. Wrapping this one up, easy use. It's very simple to use. The learning curve is virtually non-existent. It's integrated with the QRZ database for easy to look up. It's got some automated award tracking, et cetera. It's not widely recognized as LOTW. There's strict QSO formatting that you do. If there's small errors, like a minor time difference, it will kick it out. And so you'll have a log of the ones that get kicked out. Sometimes you can reconcile them. Sometimes you just have to move on. Very limited automation versus some of the advanced logging software. And Bob asked us to hold questions to the end, so I'll hit this and then I'll go to the grid tracker and then we can move to the next one. So for just wrapping this one up, I find it's ideal for the casual and social operators for QRZ. It's not good for contesting. It's not good for like hardcore active logging. There's other better tools for that. This is more, like I said, more of a management tool, I think, for that. It's pretty powerful for what it is. So let's jump on to Grid Tracker. Is that up already, Bob? So Grid Tracker is really specifically for programs like FT8 and FT4. So it's kind of a companion tool. I think if you're going to run your WSJTX, mess it up, WSTJX, you'd really use your Grid Tracker on like a separate screen. It is intense, and I'll show you some of the screens. There's a lot of data in this particular tool, but it can be very powerful if you want to do things like if you're tracking grids or just want to see some other data around what's going on out there in the FT8 world. I'm going to skip over some of this just for sake of time, but some of the features are live mapping, so you can see who's hearing you and who's calling CQ. That's very helpful if you're wondering where your signal's going and where your reach might look like. Automated logging, award tracking, and some of the other. The nice thing is about some of the alerts and stats that come with that as well. I won't get into detail with this, but it's basically you can integrate it with Grid Tracker and then the other tools. It's just a very simple setup. Some of the visuals, it gives you a map of the Grid Tracker. It kind of shows you what's going on in your particular area. Some of the other features on the right-hand side of the modes and where you're seeing some signals and things like that. Another snapshot, this is the call roster review. So this is what you can see and what have been some of the recent calls. And this is your logbook view. Similar to QRZ, it's very simple, but it gives you, kind of your latest status. You can see across the top a lot of the other views that you can use if you're doing DX type stuff or you're looking for worked all states or things of that nature. So very feature rich. I personally like the visuals of it. It's nice to be able to easily pick out what you're looking for out of the color scheme and all that. Some of the pros and cons for this one, it is free, just like WSJTX. It's visual. I like the visuals of it. I think it's visually engaging. To make it worthwhile, you do really need an additional screen, I think. If you're trying to do it on a laptop with multiple tabs and that kind of thing, not really the best way to use that. It does integrate with other systems like N1MM and Log4OM, and there is an offline mode for this. Mentioned the screen space. It does have a learning curve. So setting this up and navigating all the different features of it take a little bit of time, but I think once you master it and you like doing that kind of work, it's pretty powerful. All right, so wrapping up on this one, it does bring your logbook to life, the real-time visuals and stats. It's great for chasing new grids. If you are trying to either get those awards or just trying to complete certain grids, it's an easy way of identifying those and tracking those. And it's good for digital modes. All right. Mm-hmm.
We're off and running, folks. So you got some good technicals out there, and hopefully we get these all up. Come on. All right, as Robert was saying with QRZ, I think everybody should just get on QRZ and at least get a home page so you have it there. I contact people, single sideband phone. I know they're looking me up because instead of my license name of Robert, they're calling me by Bob. And the other fun part of QRZ is, yeah, you get little certificates. You get these little badges. I like the wallpaper. Through QRZ, you make your DXCC or your worked all states, you can order suitable for framing certificates to put up there. And then you have your story up there about you and how you got involved. And there's just my picture of me, a Cochise. I talked to this guy in Costa Rica. Oh yeah, you're like John Wayne. Yeah. That was taken in Monument Valley. So here's a gentleman I contacted from France. You notice here, he QSLs by Logbook of the World. Back on mine, I'll say I'll QSL any way you send me a QSL. Also, here at the bottom, he uses Logbook of the World. Like Han says, that's the mothership. That's the first one to get involved with. A lot of people, contesters, long distance DX stations, log in the Logbook of the World. A bunch of others do not. Logbook of the World used to be a little tricky on how to first get started with it. You used to have to get a postcard. Now you download the software. Start off on the ARRL website, go to Logbook of the World, download your software. They got a real nice, easy setup wizard for it. It'll lead you to file, new call sign certificate. You have to have your certificate. It's good for like 10 years. You enter your information, the certificate request is sent off to the ARRL, they send you back an email, and from what I understand now, you have to verify your identity, being it's electronic, so you might have to scan in a copy of your license or your driver, your ham radio license, blood type, urine specimen, I'm not sure. But they will reply with an email, instruct you how to get set up, and then you'll receive your numbers, list of numbers for your certificate, and then hold your questions till we're done. And then the best part of it, when I'm buying a new computer and I got to switch everything over, I'm behind the 8 ball. It's all messed up. It's not importing files. Great technical support via email. Almost like instant messaging. Emailing back, no, that didn't work. Okay, try this. No, that didn't work. I'm a history major. Okay, then step one, works like a charm. So once you get your certificate and it says you must be issued a certificate, that's your username is your call sign, then you're going to get a password. And once that's there, you're set to go. You can log in, and this is the home page. So you can see, like on me, I have 6,626 QSOs with about half of them confirmed through Logbook of the World, 3,100 or so. Logbook of the World has nice, beautiful little wallpaper certificates. Sorry, I like them. Cost you a little bit of money, suitable for framing, it's great. But you have the home screen, you have your QSOs, awards, you can find call signs. Pretty user-friendly once you get into it. Best part, anything you want to know is right in here. You can click on these links and it'll give you more information than you can stand step by step. So you click on awards. So here's your Logbook of the World awards. DXCC is 100 countries contacted, worked all states. Then accounts you can set up if you want to, or for different type of contests. You can just go on, select DXCC award, and here's my account. I have my 100 mixed. Number of QSLs isn't there. But again, here we're back to that QRZ logbook page. So this is what Robert was talking about. Here's my logbook. I got Italy, France, Germany, New Caledonia. They have confirmed. I imported confirmations from Logbook of the World. I get a little circle around it. I don't have it on this page, but if there's a check mark by that star, that was credited for an award. My DXCC, my work all states, whatever. Here you see, there are no stars. So you go here, I check these two, go to send the selected records to Logbook of the World. I put in my password. Off they go to records successfully sent to LOTW. So what happens? I do a new query for my QSLs. Ones I was concerned about: Falkland Islands, St. Helena, Canada, Alaska, Antarctica. They all show up right there. Another QRZ page. And this is what I think a lot of people use. I'm making a contact with somebody. I put in their call sign up here in Logbook of the World, search by call sign. TJ1GD pops up. He's from I cut it off. He's from Cameroon, right? Now, don't you want that postcard? How cute can you get, right? That's why I just love getting postcards from special event stations and from DX stations. Clue, I upload my log to Club Log. Uh-oh, there's another logging program I need access to. Darn. So you go to Club Log, right? Free program. Even a history major can do it. Put in your call sign, put in your password. Oh, it didn't work. Got to register. Register for new account, put in your call sign, create a password. You're good to go in Club Log. And Club Log's got more windows than you can think of on what to go to. And then you can upload, and then there's OQRS, which is online QSL cards, basically. So here's my club log report for DX. Who's out there on long distance? So these are the DXCC active expeditions. Oh, I got Montserrat. Oh, Palestine. Where are they at? Maybe I'm going to tune my radio. I'm going to see if I can get around to them. These are just following what I'm doing. So you can do a search again for needed DXCCs. So what out of those 100 don't I have yet? Or out of 114 that I do have? So Micronesia, Jordan, Greece, India, and they will confirm in Logbook of the World, or they won't, but Micronesia is the 89th most wanted contact in the world. So DXCC, plug around with it, it's a lot of fun. Here's my personal charts. So it shows I worked the Alan Islands, they're not confirmed. I worked Alaska on all these bands. One's not confirmed, the rest are confirmed. Once you get a confirmation, the guy, Derek here is a priest in Cameroon that runs the orphanage with those kids. Okay, how much does that QSL card go to cost me as a donation? So you go, and unfortunately I didn't go to him because I got that contact after I did the slides for this. But TJ1GD is him, and he says all payments and contacts go to the Children's Orphanage in Cameroon. Again, he was not confirmed yet when I put that up. But here's Western Kiribati, right? First direct QSO costs you $7. Everything else is free. Okay, $7, boom, 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 boom. Let's go. Goes to PayPal, goes to my credit card that my wife doesn't see, and charges me $7. All right. So that's just how that works. And then online QSL request, once you do make that payment and you request this, so here's Antarctica. I requested their QSL card, and yep, there's the green one that they responded, and they're sending it to me. And I got it. It's in my little file at home. Requested, paid by PayPal, check. So I got all those waiting. So I don't have to keep my little manual spreadsheet of who I sent money to, who I didn't. Typically, they're anywhere from $5 to $7, maybe $10. But when you're sitting at 94 countries and you're looking for 100, yeah, I'll spend the $50 just to get the certificate. I'm an idiot. All right? N3FJP is not a free program, but I have fallen in love with this. So you can just go to our website, and they say it's very easy, intuitive, and it is. I mean, click here, we're good. It has databases of all the countries. It gives you bearing calculator. It gives you miles from your QTH to wherever the station is. It's really cool. Plus, they're on YouTube. Plus, they got a great AI support system that'll give you information. So they have contest logs, ARRL contests, CQ contests, other states, country files, whatever. Specialty logs for amateur exam study, ham dash, CQ, club score processors, things like that. Oops, I'm sorry. Some got heavy. Boy. I leaned on it. So here, detailed help pages, frequently asked questions, install, interface with Logbook of the Word, passport, email support groups, and again, AI. Miss Juliet is their AI. I said, how do I use N3, how can I use this logging software for parks on the air? Boom. Can I do a POTA log? Yep. There it is, step by step how to do it. So again, it's not free. If you would buy each of their logging programs individually, you can get the amateur contact log for $40. But then they got all these contest logs out there. I'm not a contester yet. VHF, UHF logs, all this, throw about $8, $9. If you get the super duper program for $60, all of that's included, updates for life, your worries are over. And I guess there. But yeah. Yeah, like I said, every day I use it, I fall more and more in love with it. So this is what their log sheet looks like. I pull that up first. These are my logs, what I've worked, but I use this right now strictly for my FT8 contacts. And this is why. I'm working, this is WSJTX, their waterfall display, and their list of whatever, like St. Martin's out there, Spain's out there. You know, that's all there. I think FT8 is ham radio's reasonable accommodation for people with various disabilities. Hearing disabilities, can't wear my headset, I can look at this. I had a stroke, I have a speech impairment, don't have to worry about getting on the air, I can still get on the air. Okay. Visually impaired, I talked to a guy over the weekend. He loves it because he can put it on his computer screen. His radio screen is too small for him to read. He can blow it up on the computer. So FT8 has a lot of really good things that people don't talk about. So in this case, I called CQDX, and my friend Chris from France gives me a call back. I give him a signal report back. He sends me a 73, I send him a 73. Here's the interface. So the logging program pulls up their QRZ page. That sound familiar? We're back to QRZ. Has his call sign, the date, the bearing. He's 4,500 miles from me. I click here on OK. It goes in to N3 FJP's log. It's there. I'm ready to go. Now let's look across the top. All kinds of stuff you can do. Well, I click on log. You have club log, you have EQSL, the electronic QSL card, logbook of the world, or QRZ. I click on club log. It already has my email address. It has my club log password. I say all contacts not uploaded. So it's only going to upload these 3 from the 22nd. It's not going to upload everything else. Of course, they're already there. I click that, and in a matter of seconds, boom, you're done. It's there. So I upload the club log, I upload to QRZ, and I'm done. Then you can go to awards. So here, counties that you worked in the US. Countries that you've worked that still remain. So these are all the countries I've worked on FT8. States, you know, it pops up on that QRZ page and it tells you, you still need it, it's new. You need this state, you need this country. You can also go to the map. That's on my 30-meter contacts. You know, I haven't figured out how to get all my contacts. It only does it by each individual band. But, I mean, it's got everybody out there that I contacted on 30 meters. So it's real easy, real simple. I think it's well worth the $60 I spent on that. Okay? Mr. Michael, I think you're next. You want this one? Very good.
All right, test. All right, I'm going to talk about HAMRS, hammers, however you want to call it. And this is my favorite software for my portable operations. First, a disclaimer, these are my personal observations and picadillos. It all relates to my portable operations. I don't use HAMRS for my home station. I use N3FJP. For my POTA operations, I use these three downloads from Google Play, and I always keep them on my phone, and I always have them handy for my logging when I'm operating. First off, HAMRS. I also use Grid Square Locator. You can see down there a screenshot of my telephone that I have, and it gives you your grid square where you are when you're operating. And then I keep Zulu time handy as well. If I did all my logging on computer in the field, I wouldn't need all these things, but I do my logging on paper. So what you need to determine what you need to have handy if you're going to go out to a POTA park or if you're going to go to a SOTA summit. You need your park number or your SOTA summit designator. You'll need your Maidenhead grid square. You need all these things in your log so that when you create your ADIF file, you can upload it to QRZ or LOTW or whatever other software you like to use. I record my latitude and longitude because N3FJP asks for that when you open up your log in N3FJP. County and state. Then you need your date, UTC date, your UTC time, and you have to pay attention to the UTC crossover if you're doing a POTA activation. If you start at 5:40 p.m. and the time, and you don't have your 10 contacts and the time changes on you to the next UTC day, you don't get credit for an activation for that date. So I always pay attention to whatever time zone I'm in. I pay attention to when the new UTC rollover is. You need your call sign, you need your contact's call sign, their location. I also record the radio that I'm using. I have a couple of different radios that I use for my portable operations. What antenna I'm using, my power output, and of course the frequency, the band, and the mode. Here's my typical field log book. What's this stuff that's down on the bottom? Ah, I got it. I put my my location up at the top, the date, the county, my grid square, my lat long, and then for my contacts, I always have the frequency, time, call sign, sent, receive, and the notes, which is usually another, if they're in another POTA park or if they're, or whatever state they're in. Once I'm finished in the field, then I go home to a computer, and I'm going to enter all this information into HAMRS. So with the HAMRS software, first you have to download it, and then for your first time setup, you go to, I'm going to use the cursor here. The two things when you first set up the program, is that showing up there?
No. Very small.
So the two things you need are the settings and the profile. We'll set those up separately. When you first set up the software, you'll create a new profile. You can see it down here, my profile, my call sign, and it integrates with QRZ. And then in the settings, you choose what lookup provider you want to use, and I use QRZ. I believe that in HAMRS you could also do LOTW. This is a typical logbook, or this is my whole list of my logs that I've uploaded. So the first thing you do when this comes up is go to New Logbook. Click up there on the little green square. It'll open up a new logbook here, and you get a choice. You can do a generic log, a parks on the air, a summits on the air, field day, winter field day. I've never used those, but I use the parks and the summits. And sometimes I've used the generic just when I'm at home and need just a general log. Once you open that up, once you open up a new log book, here's the opening page. And first you start over here on the right, enter your frequency that you're operating on, the band, and that'll come up automatically when you enter the frequency. Your power output, your mode, my park number, call sign is in there already, my grid, and then down at the bottom, it doesn't show very well, the state and the county that I'm located in. And then when you start entering the information from my paper log, their call sign, the sent and received signals, their park if they're in another POTA park. Comments, I always put, if they're in a POTA park, I'll put P to P for park to park or whatever else. If I have a chat with a guy, I talk with them, whatever you want to put in there. Time you have to pay attention to. If you're out in the field and doing this live on the air, if you had Wi-Fi when you're sitting at a park, the time and the date would log automatically. When I'm at home uploading to HamRS, I have to set this stuff. So you have to make sure that you have the correct date for your log and whatever your UTC time for your contacts. And once you enter those, then it'll stay locked in. And as you add new contacts, you just have to integrate those. The other fields, operator, state, county, QTH, those things will populate automatically because it's integrated with QRZ. So as soon as you enter his call sign up at the top, those fields down there will populate. And as I said, if you had Wi-Fi, a lot of POTA guys, and SOTA guys too, they have a little tablet or something with them in the field, and they'll log in the field, and they have Wi-Fi. A lot of places I go to, I don't have Wi-Fi, so I just do it on paper and don't have to worry about it. Once you've entered your logs, you look down at the bottom here. Here's all my fields. Here's my contacts, KE5GY, W0MOT, and there's the information that's logged once I've entered it. Once I've entered all my logs for my field book, I want to check my information for accuracy. And the first thing I do in HamRS is there's the tab there in the middle, says QSO map. You click on that, and it'll bring up the field here and where my contacts were located. More importantly, for accuracy, I want to check my location because sometimes I screw up. So in particular, when I'm entering my information, I might screw up with the grid square, I might screw up with the time, but here I've zoomed in on the QSO map, and this was an activation by Buena Vista, and the actual park was down here by the river, but the program plots your point at the center point of the 6-figure grid square. So it may not look right, but it is right. After entering all of your contacts, and I check that data, I check my location to make sure I'm accurate, then I go to this export page. So I'll click on whatever activation I'm exporting, and then let's say this one here is the US 12177. You click on the gear icon over here, and the little pop-up comes here, and it says export ADI. So you click on that and it exports your ADI file. And then you're ready to check it again. I always check it again. So I use ADIF Master. This is another program. So I'll go into ADIF Master and just do a file up here, file, open, and I find my ADIF file and I open it up in ADIF Master. But this one has a whole lot more columns in it. you'll see across the top, it has all of the information that I have entered: the call sign, the county, the frequency, the grid square, the mode, my county, and these are the ones that are particularly important before you go and upload your ADIF file to QRZ or LOTW. Check your grid square, and many times I've done all my data entry and I'll have a grid square screwed up somewhere in the column here. But it's easy to edit in ADIF master. You can just click on this square and you can just change it to the correct value. Moving on across, you can see this was a POTA log. My POTA park number, county, the contact's name, and I check the dates. I'm always careful about checking these dates because once again, because I'm doing it after the fact, I'm putting it into the program after the fact when I'm at home or in a hotel, I'll get the date screwed up. So I always want to make sure that's right. And then on the far right here, it says time on. And so that's the time of your QSO. And you always want to go through that column as well and make sure things are accurate. And I want to go back here. So we're done with that. One of the cool features of HAM-RS is creating duplicate logs. So I did a activation in Wyoming, in southeast Wyoming, and it was actually from Lombard Ferry, US 6219, and it's a 7 parks in one location. There's a whole bunch of historic trails go through there, and it's some other scenic designations as well, and it's a legitimate 7 fur. So you're going to have 7 identical logs. So here in HAM-RS, you just go over here to the right-hand side, you click on the gear icon, and it pops up, and you see this little icon says duplicate. So up here in the duplicate window, you have to just make a couple of changes. Go down to the park. This is the original log, or the original log for the original park. And so you just change your park number down here, and you go up here and you change the name and the title, get rid of copy, and I change the park number up there, and then you save it. And then you have to open that file again, and then you're going to export an ADI file. So for every one of your parks that if it's a 2 fur or a 3 fur, it's easy. But for every one of those, you have to create a duplicate, change the park number, and then export an ADI file. And change your title, right. And thus, after I do that, look at here. I have 7 identical logbooks. QSOs, 32, 32, 32, right down the line. And those are all identical. And now I'm ready to upload those ADIF because I've exported every one of those into a folder. And then I'm ready to export all of those to LOTW or QRZ and parks, and then parks on the air. And we'll get to that last. Here's another feature in HAM-RS. You can go to the POTA spots tab over here on the right. And if you're logging live, or if you're sitting at home at your home QTH and just hunting parks, you can bring up the POTA spots, and these are the live POTA spots that will also show up on the POTA app software. Yep, I'm almost done. This is the difference between a SOTA log and a POTA log. You'll see here the only difference is my SOTA reference. This was Pikes Peak. So if you export it as a SOTA, it's Pikes Peak there, and then my reference over here on the right-hand side. And then you're ready to upload those to POTA. And all you do is go to Upload Activation Logs. You choose your ADIF file and enter it here, and then upload it to POTA. And that's it. And
Okay, I'm going to be doing this from the back of the room. There. Share window. Let's see if this comes up. Okay, so people are showing you a lot of fancy programs. I was faced out in when I was POTAing, being in an area with no coverage, and I wanted a tool that I could just use that basically replaced paper, that created ADI files from as I did my POTA activations. And so what I did is I created this. This is a Python program, so it'll run on Apple, it'll run on Windows, run on Linux. Being a software engineer, one thing, I'm not going to dwell on help stuff, but at any point you can type help, and there is a ton of information about how the program runs. If you're at a prompt and you hit question mark, it'll show you what kind of inputs you want. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a POTA activation. Again, this just creates ADI files, and then those you can import into all of these pretty programs that show all sorts of information. So I'm W0TLM. If there were multiple activators, I just string them out, like Tim's with me, W0OOD, for instance. But I'm just going to keep it simple and just go with myself here. What frequency am I on? I'm on 14250. I'm upper sideband. My park code, I'm actually, let's say, activating two parks, 1111 and US 2222. And because these don't break over a state province, I'm going to hit return, special event call sign, it's no special event. If you're doing this after the fact, you've written it down on paper and you want to just generate ADI files, you can tell it that you're going to be giving it manual times. I'm just going to hit return, so it will actually timestamp this. And finally, POTA identifying comments, I'll show you what that is. It gives you a nice comment like activating from park 1111 and 2222 to parks, blah, 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 if it was a park to park, for example. So this is the prompt that you get, and kind of the one additional thing I can add in this, the in parentheses is the sticky information. What frequency I'm on, what mode I'm operating on. I'm just going to enter that I'm also using 100 watts here. So that's optional. So let's say here I'm going to pick on John. NG0I contacts me. Remember, POTA needs your time, your frequency, your mode, and a call sign. Done. That's all I'm doing here. I didn't want to have to tab around or click around on different locations. I wanted to just be able to enter something very much like you would write. So let's say I contacted W1JU, and I've got a sig. He came. I told him he was a 4.5. He told me I was a 5.9. It'll record that. If you have a park to park, let's get really fancy with a park to park. Let's see. Trish is going to contact me, or I call out and Trish comes back. She's at another park. I got her at a 4.5. US, she's at 3.333, and US 4.444. And oh, by the way, she was a 5.9 too. Except for the call sign. The call sign always has to be first. Otherwise, it's a totally free-form entry to this thing. You don't have to put things in a specific order. So if you notice, I put the 4.5, I put the two parks that are there, then I put the 5.9, and now I'm gonna, that's logged. And by the way, Tim's there too. And so there's a second operator. So, Tim
is W000D. And do I have to type all of this again? Well, nope. After doing the contact, I'm just going to say ditto. So there's his second entry. So, and so there's a live demonstration that and I hope it kind of worked. I mean, it's really no more complex than that. It's a replacement for writing things down. Does not require Wi-Fi. Even though I'm doing this on a Chromebook, I don't need the Wi-Fi except for showing the what's going on here. But it allows you to. Oh, and then I should show you. So exit. By the way, this would be a question mark. So if you don't know what's here, this shows you how to enter things, all the options you have at this point. Again, I'm not going to dwell there. Now I'm going to exit, and if I look at this directory, there at the bottom, you see the ADI file for park number 1111 and the ADI file for park 2222 that I was activating at. And so those files you can now upload into the iCandy logging programs that you want to do. But this is just very, very basic. It replaces a piece of paper is really the thing I was going for. And it handles all kind of the basic POTA operations of multiple activators at your park, multiple activators at other parks if necessary, etc. And if I'm lucky here, what I'm going to try to do is see if I can switch back and let's stop that share and share here and go here. Let's see if this, I don't know what the lag is here. The started screen sharing. There's where to get it. So it's on GitHub. That'll bring down the zip file, or a tiny URL if you don't want to do a lot of typing, or you can take a picture and download that.
I think there's a newsletter.
Okay. Sure, I'll write something up about that. But it's nothing fancy, but it gets you those ADI files you can then use, and it doesn't require any connectivity whatsoever. All right, since we're not taking questions, I'll just hand this off.
CQR log. It's been around for a number of years. It is, as I said, a Linux-only logging program, but it has everything in it that I care to use all the time. And it ties in with other programs and such, as we'll see in a few moments. It requires, though, that you install CQR log first, then you install MariaDB, and then you can create your database. So it's a fully database program that works rather well. In the program here, if I click on these links, we'd go see all the individual pages for CQR log, such as where it's available from, the download page to get the program, which has information how to install it on different Linux operating systems. It is particular to the Debian program, Ubuntu Linux, but you can run it on other Linuxes, including you can run it on a Raspberry Pi. There is a full page for help, and I got a screenshot here of what that looks like in a bit, and they also have screenshots on their website. And since we're running out of time, I'm just going to kind of run through this real fast. It's a complete tool. It's got cat control for 2 radios. It connects to LOTW and EQSL. It can also export ADIF files. It interfaces with FLDigi and WSJTX, so you can start CQR log and then start the other program from within it. It works with hamlib, so if you wanted to have a radio or something else somewhere else, you can control it still over the network. It can receive data when you put in a call sign from ham QTH or QRZ, and I believe the QRZ one you need to have a pay-for subscription for. The negative is it's Linux only. So if you're not familiar with Linux, you're going to have some issues there to learn it. And it requires the MariaDB, which is the equivalent to the SQL database. Forget what the name of it is offhand. And it says it's somewhat complex to set up, but you'll see in a moment here. Here is the preferences page. You can see everything down the left side, and every one of those pages has numerous settings for it so that you can set it up to be customized as much as you want. This is a snapshot of one of the my log that I've got in CQR log. This is the page that you would manually log things with if you wanted to. And the thing is, if you use it with like FLBG or WSJTX, it'll populate this information for you automatically based on, you know, the call sign and what you're doing. This is the open data. When you first start CQR log, it's going to come up with this page, and you can have multiple logs running within the database that you want. For example, a couple of years ago, we did a field day thing where you could do stuff from the home, and there were a number of people that were out there that were on 2 meters for it and everything else. And I just created a second log. You can merge them later on if you want. Let's see what else is there. Here's how you set up the page for your radios. You can have 2 radios set up and use hamlib with rig control so that you can just automatically control your radios. For example, from WSJTX, everything configured properly. I can change my frequencies wherever I want from there, and I don't have to touch the radio. You can look at DX clusters. Here's the configuration for FLBG and for WSJTX, which at this moment I left it blank. Callbook support. This is for your callbook search. I use ham QTH. I have not done a membership to QRZ, even though I've been debating on it for a while because it's got a lot more information to work with. And then for online logging, you can go to ham QTH, you can go to club log, HRD log. It also has the capability for, like I said, exporting your database to ADIF files and uploading it to LOTW or QRZ. So, does anybody have any questions for anybody? Got lots and lots of information that came across.
I was gonna say, at least as of a few months ago when I got LOTW stuff myself, it was still a postcard, but I don't know if that's changed. It was a postcard about a few months ago.
Yeah. WSJTX has that built in too, but when you use both of them together, it doesn't make any difference which way you go. And the one thing, if you're real kind of a techie type of person, you can put your database on any computer in your house and you can manage it from CQR log. You can access it. It's a little bit more work to do though. So has everybody been totally overloaded? And that runs on Windows only though, right? Yeah, all of my radio stuff happens to be under Linux. Mine's dual boot also, but yeah, everything for radio is Linux based. So, if nobody's got any further questions, I guess we're done.
Any other questions? No? Well, thank you all for hanging in there. Thank you, Zoomers. And the October meeting is adjourned. Thanks for hanging in there.